Welcome to a very special Better Earth podcast with our VP of Sales, top producer, Chance Pronschinske, leader of Smile Big, made over $1 million last year. Just an amazing leader, individual, and the top rep here in the solar industry. Chance, welcome to Tampa. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Appreciate it. I'm very excited.
You're looking good, too. Looking good.
Thank you. You got the J on. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Looking good. So, you know, you've only been at Better Earth now for just over a year and a half.
Yep.
You know, you've made absolute waves and become a known commodity very, very quickly, not just in solar, but just in being, you know, a young entrepreneur and leader.
Yep.
You're driving a Lambo. You know, you got a lot of things going on, but let's walk it back to when you were first kind of looking at maybe joining Better Earth, joining solar, taking that leap to California.
Yeah.
What were you doing, and what made you do it?
Yeah, I dropped out of school probably a year and a half in when I started school at college. But I dropped out knowing that I never wanted a piece of paper that a million students always get every single year. I was always a lot different than many other people. So I just took the leap. I dropped out, and I knew I wanted something bigger. I wanted a sustainable product to be able to sell. I didn't want to have to sell a vacuum where it's a choice. And when I saw the vision, you, Zane, Trace, Mikey, everyone had Zambo, I knew I had to be a part of it. So I put my parents in a group chat, and I said I'm moving to California. But the pandemic hit. So after the pandemic hit, I remember we talked to each other, and it was definitely a decision where I was questioning it. I had a lot of time, right? Probably 2 months. I was just okay, do I go? I'm going to go. No, I'm not going to go. I'm going to go. And I had a clothing company called Smile Big Clothing. We gained a ton of traction, and I was dang, do I go? And I was all right, you're going to run Smile Big, and I'm going to take care of what we have to take care of. And I came out to California. But I actually saw Better Earth on Instagram from Zane when he ran an ad, and he was always one of my favorite entrepreneurs, someone I definitely looked up to, and the vision we had here was just unlike any other. So I just made the jump, and ever since that, never have to look back.
Yeah, I know I've told the story on internal Zoom calls and stuff, but we were recruiting to put up a few people in a house in NorCal, and we were really looking for 3 amazing individuals, and we ran some ads, and we literally had hundreds of selfie videos come in. And one of the people we ended up bringing out was someone that I personally recruited, Kyle Collins, who went to the University of Florida, and you were in the house with him. But he was kind of the first one that I was okay, he's in the house. And then I had all these videos come in, and it was a relentless 2 weeks of interviewing and hopping on calls and Zooms. And not that I was dissatisfied, but I was
right.
I don't have this feeling on anybody. And I got blown off 2 consecutive Zoom calls in a row. And while that happened, your selfie video just came in. And I watched it, and I was okay, I'm just going to call this dude. And if he picks up and it's cool at all, I'm just going to tell him, hey, it's now or never.
Yep.
And I think I FaceTimed you.
You did, yeah.
And you're at Pebble Beach.
Yep.
You know, I play golf professionally. One, you're at Pebble Beach, you're following your buddy, and you took the call on the course. Yeah. And I don't know how long we talked for, 5-10 minutes, but we vibed real quick. And you basically committed on the spot. You're I'm going to go back to Wisconsin, and I'll be out there. Yeah. In 2 weeks. See you then. And it was just so cool. Tell me a little bit on your side, when that phone call came in, that was kind of crazy.
Well, the craziest part is this is my first time ever being in California, and I was damn, this is sick, right? So when I got that phone call, when I got it from you, I knew it was from someone with Better Earth, and I was all right, I got to answer this. So stepped aside, and then, of course, we clicked right away because it was golf. But when I got that phone call, I wasn't really nervous or anything. I just knew who I was. I knew I was different. If you give me the opportunity, I'm just going to crush it. So I'm someone that's all in or not all in. So I was all in, and I just told you I'm going to do it. I'm going to drop everything. Told my parents actually at Pebble Beach as well, and I was I'm going. So we hopped on a couple other calls after that, and it pretty much solidified it. But my feeling there is just this is my time, baby.
Yeah, no, it was super cool because I was man, this was too easy, but it felt so right too. And then COVID hit. Yep. And I had to kind of work on you for a couple months. I was he didn't text me back today. Oh no. I was I can't let this guy go. But then you ended up working with your brother in Smile Big and the clothing brand, and it kind of worked out perfectly where you could do both and take the leap, not without risk, but with a little bit
100%.
Not as risky as maybe it could have been for others.
100%. Yeah, I had a backup plan, but with it, like, I just wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision. And after I kept talking to you, you definitely made me feel a lot more comfortable. The opportunity just kept getting greater and greater, and I was just like, I have to come out. So that's what I did.
Yeah, and then your first month, I forget the total, you did like 12 deals. Talk about what that first month kind of looked like for you, and what that first month now looks for people on your team, and how different it is today.
Yeah, I love it. So my first month I did 16, and it was like came out to like $83,000. And at that time, like, the company was a little newer, right? And no one really heard of that production before. But I remember when I was sitting down doing all my goals and everything, I just knew I could do it. So the one thing I knew I could control is just how hard I work. So I knew that I could outwork every single person. My results are going to be better, right? I mean, the more doors you hit, the more deals you're going to have. So after that, I mean, I did a lot of production, and my head is just in a spot where I only want to get better and better and better. So I'm not going to, of course, descend. So after I started bringing out people, I knew there was one thing before I even brought out people is I have to learn how to be able to duplicate myself in this industry. You know, if I'm bringing out someone, I care about more of their production than mine. So I brought out Ryan, Dylan, and Keegan to start, and their first months were pretty big as well. So it definitely is a big paradigm switch for a lot of the company when I first started doing all that volume, but it's just the beginning, definitely. That's what I would say.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that you brought was like two things, like, because you hit it so quickly. We see this happen a lot. Like, people will hit the ground running quickly. You sustained it, but you just brought uber confidence and conviction, and then you just outworked everyone.
100%.
And that's what you say all the time. It's just like, I'm going to be the first one out, I'm going to be the last one in. I'm just going to outwork you. Like, even if someone comes around that might be better,
right?
Like, I'm still just going to outwork you, so I'm going to outproduce you. And I think that's the thing that's why you have guys like Tess and Preston, all those guys also doing well, because it's just the work ethic. It's not that the Smile Big team is inherently better than anyone else in the company or anyone else in the industry. You guys just fucking work. Like, you guys outwork every single other team. And so 10 becomes a standard. Then 15 becomes a standard.
100%.
Guys are throwing up 20, and it becomes less cool when the guy's doing like 6 or 7, which is still a ton of deals and you're making a ton of money.
Yep.
But in the Smile Big house, like, when you guys really kicked it off, like, if you're doing 6 or 7, you were like 9th.
Yeah.
Which is like a top producer at a lot of other companies, a lot of other teams. But you guys just raise that bar, raise that standard of like, dude, the standard's 10. Like, 10 is not like the goal. 10's the standard, 20 is the goal, 30 is the goal.
Yep.
Like, keep going bigger and bigger. And it's like, yeah, it's just like, put in the work.
100%. I think you even said Uber. So when I came out here, I didn't have a car, nothing. Like, a lot of people always make excuses like, oh, I can't get out to turf, or I have to wait on someone else's schedule. So I just took it in my own hands, and I Ubered. I Ubered everywhere. So I never had the time to drive around neighborhoods and be like, this seems like a good one. You know, I'm spending $40 on Uber when I had $4,000 in my account, because most of it was in the clothing company. So when I did that, I was like, I'm stuck here. What am I going to do, sit on a sidewalk, feel bad that I'm in a bad neighborhood? No, I'm just going to go talk to whoever I possibly can. Mm-hmm. So that was something, and a lot of people in this industry, they always look for like a secret line. Like, they think that you have like some secret like lines and stuff, or like a secret magic potion to get to 20 deals. It's just like, no, the only way to do it is to work. Of course, work efficiently, and don't waste your time. Like, your time is so valuable in this industry. If you hit more doors than every other person, like, it is just a giant Easter egg hunt, you know? So when my grandma we used to do Easter, right? Every time you'd have an egg with 25 cents in it, and you're like, shit, 25 cents? You kidding me? But then you find that golden egg, it has $5 in it. That's the same exact thing with the doors. You're hitting as many doors, and you got to find that golden egg. And the difference is, instead of a $5 egg, in this industry, it's like $5,000, and you literally just get to help out someone. So just getting over like that hump, and a lot of people feel bad for themselves. Oh, I don't have the results. I don't have this. It's just like, go out, work. You know, the only way to be good is you just have to practice. You have to practice on your craft. You have to work on your craft. You have to stay up later. You have to do personal development. And that's what people like don't understand in this industry. And I think that's what actually like separates our team from a lot of other teams in this industry, is they understand what they're getting into. Right. When you join my team, you're working a godly amount of hours. You know, and I set that expectation right away, and yeah, it just works. That's the secret formula. Working.
Yeah, well, for you guys, it's really not about the days or the weeks or the months or the 90-day blitz. It's about hit it as hard as possible The more doors you hit, the quicker you're going to learn, and you can become really good at this within a week, like you did, or 2 weeks. Some people have longer turn times to when they get confident and they can be themselves at the doors, but the only way to do that is to keep hitting more and more and more.
1,000%.
And I know what you did at the start was the energy you brought, just like on our sales boards, of like always the first QL of the day, always the last QL of the day, sometimes 6, 7, 8, 9. It was like the sales day never was completed. It was like 12:30 at night.
Exactly.
Boom, another deal. And that energy, I think, has snowballed. You know, now we've got multiple people that are doing that. We had that last night with like Harpreet and Vivek and Cam. And it's like, you know, what's going on? And, you know, you really set the standard for just exceptionalism. And there's like no like quit in the work. You know, you never know when someone's going to have time to go solar with you, so you make yourself available.
Right.
And you would do it all day. All day. Didn't matter if it was the morning or the night. Talk to us about a little bit those like first days where you got like hot, like where you felt like, hey, I got 6 or 7 or 8 QLs, and you felt like, yo, I can do this, but I'm also going to be really damn good at this. Like, what was that point?
That first feeling for me was when I just started knocking solo instead of like being super scripted and like when I got my pitch, like I'm going to be honest, like I scribbled it out just because door-to-door was newer to me, but I used to do a lot of e-commerce stuff where like I understood how to sell. So I realized once I was just actually myself, it clicked.
Yeah.
It 100% clicked. Like I just have to talk to people and get them over that hump or get them over like that smoke screen. After you got that, I started to realize in my first week that the hardest people to actually get a bill from or QL are the easiest to close. So that's why like I was out there all day. Like I had a backpack, I had granola bars, and I had my laptop in my bag. So I had nothing else to do, and it's just like I'm just going to go until a door is slammed in my face every single time. So I got farther into conversations. I got farther into objections that other people aren't actually going to hear, and that was my win. My win wasn't always getting like that QL or getting that lead. It was always, okay, I just had that person stand outside their door 45 seconds longer than any other sales rep could. That was a win for me. Mm-hmm. That was literally a win for me. It felt even better than a QL. I was like, I got that guy.
Yeah.
You know, that person tried to shut the door 5 different times, and I kept him out there. So that's when it all started clicking for me, 100%. And from there, it just all trickled in.
Yeah, well, it's a compounding effect, right? Like,
100%.
It's way easier to get the second win than it is to get the first one. It's also detaching yourself from the result. Like, the result ultimately is, like, the cash or, like, closing the deal or whatever. But to take that, like, micro win of, like, okay, I took that someone from, like, wanting to slam the door in my face to, like, having a good conversation. First one of the day. Makes it easier to get the second one. Then you get a QL.
Yep.
Then you get in the house. Then you close a deal. And then just stacks. And you're able to get in the flow state. And that only happens from hitting an ungodly amount of doors and
100%.
Working incredibly hard. It's really, really difficult. Like, this is a hard job. It's actually like an impossible job if you don't work hard. But if you work hard, it's really hard to not be successful.
Correct.
If you just go and put the numbers in, that was my experience too. Like because I struggled when I started. I actually had to go, I have the inverse. I had to go out with people because I could stay out for 13 hours a day and just like mess around. I would have fun with it. But once I kind of flipped that, it was like, okay, this is how I can stay out there 13, 14 hours a day. It became pretty easy to just get results and become like a top producer. It wasn't like I even was doing anything that much differently.
Right.
I just had volume. I was just getting more shots up than anyone. It was like, how are you getting 30 QLs in a week? It was like, well, I spent 50 hours out on the doors this week. Like, it's easy to be top of the leaderboard if you just put the work in. I think a lot of people think it's like, you mentioned like a silver bullet.
Yeah.
That's like the mistake that a lot of people make coming in. They're like, oh, there's got to be an easier way. I'm going to do door hangers. Like, I'm going to do an event. There's got to be like some sort of funnel or like some sort of pitch or like line. And it's like, dude, just go work. Just go hit more doors than anyone. You're going to win.
Yes.
Well, it's not just about hitting the doors, which is what I love what you just said. It's like you took every single door and you just made it into a game, and it wasn't about the sale. You detach yourself from the sale. It's like, I'm going to learn something a little bit more about myself here. I'm going to make sure this person understands like what I'm here to do, and I'm going to make them talk to me. And I know, like, we're all golfers, and we'll get into this because you were a cart guy. Like, we all worked at the golf course.
We're going to have to talk about when I beat Chance last time we played golf.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. But
You did.
I kind of attribute what you just said of, like, you're going to the range, and some people just go and hit golf balls. And they're like, I went out and practiced. I hit 1,000 golf balls. And it's like, man, I could go hit 10 golf balls and spend a ton of time and I'm going to get way more out of that than hitting 100 balls.
1,000%.
And, you know, same with getting shots up. Like, you can go out there and just kind of, like, rhythmically, like, hit some shots, or you can work on your game.
Correct.
And I think the people, you have a lot of athletes on your team, too. Like, we talk about Bet Earth being the NBA of solar. Like, the way you kind of attribute the way you go after doors, like, you're going after as, like, a professional athlete. You're a professional salesperson, and you're practicing for real.
Yeah.
Like, and you practiced more than anyone else because you actually, like, when it started to rain, like, not in the sense that it rained, but when it rained on you at the door and you're getting berated by the homeowner, you, like, stuck through it, and you know, put, like, your rain gear on. You're like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, let's keep this going. And you got sales out of those people that no one else would have, you know. I love that. How are you trying to teach that to your team now? Because you got a ton of people on your team, and you might not get a chance to go out on the doors and have that experience with everyone. How do you make sure that they know, like, that's what they have to do?
As soon as you get uncomfortable, and as soon as, like, you're ready to leave, that's when you have to stay in the pocket.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, a lot of times it's like, oh, this can be a waste of my time, but it really isn't. Like, you have to make yourself feel super, super uncomfortable. I have a lot of, like, newer people that come and, like, even shadow me or whatever, and they're like, holy crap, I guarantee they feel super uncomfortable the way I'm talking to this person.
Yeah.
So that's how I would say. It's just, like, be really uncomfortable. Even if you run out of things to say, think of something. Repeat yourself. Keep the door open longer. Eventually you're going to trigger that question that no other sales rep got. So that's the way. It's just, like, finding a way to just stay in the pocket, be really uncomfortable, and then eventually just you really become used to it. You know? So I think, like, that's the greatest advice that I could give anyone. Of course, like, be efficient with your words and don't, like, ramble on all the time. But I'm always I'm huge into analogies, and I put things into perspective that other people don't do. It's just, like, I don't really worry about, like, the company or the product or anything like that. I just want to dumb this down to be an absolute no-brainer. Any question that I ask anyone, and I did this when I first started as well, is I knew the answer to what I'm asking. So they're always agreeing with me. And then eventually I'm just going to get that question out of them. Now I just tee that thing up and just hit a home run on it.
Yeah.
So
do you ever think about, like, when you were a cart guy on a golf course, do you ever think about, like, that's one of the biggest reasons why you're a really good communicator? Is because when you work at a golf course, when you work in any sort of, like, job like that, you are forced into conversations you don't want to have.
Right.
Because, you know, they might be annoying, or they might, you know, just be bored, and you're there to help service them and provide, like, value in their life. And they can literally just stand by you for your entire, you know, hours. Like, they could just annoy the hell out of you. So you have to have these conversations, and you have to gamify it for yourself. And I know Trace is probably the best person ever at this, by having almost like a conversation with himself, like with another person. Talk about, like, you being a cart guy and how some of those.
CYOE. It's create your own understanding.
Yes. Shout out Steven Dickerson for that. But yeah, talk a little bit about that and how, you know, how that experience was, like, important.
So the one thing that I would say, I know we have our all hands call soon, but the one thing that I would say is there's one way to get tips. If you don't ask them how their round is going, and you don't ask them, like, a bunch of, like, personal questions, you're going to get a $1 or $2 tip.
Yeah.
But you realize, like, as you keep talking to these people and you keep, like, developing that relationship, you're going to start getting better tips. So being, like, a club cleaner, it's just, like, you have to go out of your box, even if you don't care about how their round went. You know, you have to ask them how their round went.
Yeah.
You have to dig down and find other questions. So it's the same exact thing. And it definitely helped me a lot because I'm talking to older people. When I was 14 years old, like, I'm talking to 50-year-olds, and they're like, dude, who cares how my round went? And you always have those, like, members where they're like, stop. But eventually, as you keep talking to people and you just keep talking to them and building that relationship, now they actually love you. So the reason why I even say that is I used to re-knock my neighborhood 10 different. I probably re-knocked my own neighborhood at 8:30 at night, maybe 10, 12 times. So as you keep building that relationship, you again, and eventually I closed a bunch of deals in my own neighborhood. So I would say, like, the country club definitely helped me out a lot just because I was always talking to older people and being a lot more professional with what I'm saying. But, yeah, I mean, if you don't talk to them, you're not going to get a tip, and that definitely helped me out a lot.
Yeah. I know Trace did the same thing. Like, we grew up playing golf, and this guy was, like, gambling with 50, 60-year-olds at, like, 9 years old, like, talking shit. Like,
yeah, that's me.
And then worked at the golf course, and I would see him, like, just have these ridiculous conversations with people about all sorts of stuff. And it's really about becoming like their guy.
Yeah.
They're like person they like to experience at the course. They would probably come more often because of you guys,
It teaches you affinity in a really interesting way too, right? Because if you're talking to like a 65-year-old doctor, it's like one kind of word track, one tonality.
For sure.
Talking to like the 38-year-old bachelor bro, like that's a different thing. Talking to, like a wife playing tennis, like what you're like, you have to kind of be the person and kind of figure out how to talk to all these different people. It's the same thing with, homeowners. You get a guy flying out of the door with you. You're like action based, like you're going like real fast. You like match them. You get like an older guy, like you slow it down a little bit. Like you
always
match their
adjusting.
tone out. It's that mirror match thing. And I think actually, being a cart guy like you get a lot of that because you're interacting with all these people that are. Honestly, it's like the demographic. Like the country club was like a testing grounds for homeowners.
And honestly, why I wanted to bring this up is if you're a cart guy or a cart girl and you listen to this podcast, and if you have any sort of personality, you will crush it in solar. And you should be on Chance's team because, one, you'll play a shit ton of golf. We have other professional golfers on the team.
They have no fun. They don't play golf. What are you talking about? They just work.
They play a little bit of golf. We played with them. I know you beat Chance the last time that you played along with Troy.
He had a lot of mulligans, though.
He had a lot of mulligans.
What?
Yes, you did.
That's
Next topic.
a total falsehood.
No, but
He still owes me for the gambling.
No, I don't. No, I pay for your round.
Did you?
I did.
All right. Respect.
No, but
am I getting left hand? There we go.
No.
Oh, we're gonna interject here for 5 minutes for station identification. So keep the camera on. But cool. Mikey's running our all hands right now, and currently we've got our bored apes. We own a bored ape, and Mikey's probably doing a mediocre job, kind of displaying what the bored ape means for our company. But he's doing an okay job, and
Mikey's FaceTiming me.
We're gonna pop on. Yeah, take the FaceTime. And we're back. So we just introduced Captain P, Captain Pangea, bored ape, 9684, a pink fur.
Yep.
It's fire.
A brother and sister of Neymar, Serena Williams, Pretty Little Thing, a ton of other celebrities like Snoop and
DJ Khaled,
Jimmy Fallon, DJ Khaled,
Baby.
Steph Curry,
a
lot of cool stuff.
Ton of people.
Soon Chance Brown.
Soon Chance
Prawn, yeah. So Chance, I know one of the things you got going on your team, you got a lot of young individuals, right?
Yeah.
Most people are 18, 19, 20, maybe a few are over 21. Interested in a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Like interested in NFTs and crypto and all sorts of stuff, but I think the one thing you're doing really well is you're showing how solar and sales really can be a bigger part of their why.
Right.
If it's affecting people or they want to do real estate or whatever. Tell us a little bit about, you're doing solar, you love solar in the industry, but you've got a way bigger why than that.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, when it comes to like any type of solar and like selling deals or whatever it is, like there's so many other things that you can do after the sale. So I just had my parents, like we just went to Hawaii, and to put it in perspective, I'm always putting stuff into deal perspective. Say it's 1 or 2 deals to bring your family to Hawaii. Right, it's just ridiculous. Or when it comes to real estate, or you close one big deal and you can get a RumbleCon. I know you guys, the brothers are really big on RumbleCons, but it's crazy. One deal can get you into 3 ETH, and that's something where some people work for 3 months to get an ETH. So there's just so many different things that our guys want to do, and I have like the platform, and I've been learning myself too. It's a lot newer to me, but just getting in and like learning. You learn so much faster out here. Like back in Wisconsin, people don't even know how to buy like an NFT. Some don't. Some are starting to get into it for sure, or crypto. But we're just ahead of the game everywhere we go. Like I learned something new from even being around you guys all the time. But yeah, you guys kind of introduced me to crypto, and of course I can tell my team how to do it too, just because I keep learning. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of the underlying benefits of like joining Better Earth, like obviously like solar and everything we're doing, but it's really kind of getting into a community of people that are like-minded,
right,
ambitious, thinking towards the future. Like obviously we're a solar company. It's all about building a more sustainable future. Everybody here has like a 50, 100-year vision. Everybody's like very young, right? So it's a lot of people that are going to be around for the rest of this century.
Right.
And you have a lot of people trying to figure out well, how do I set my life up so I'm prosperous and I can take care of my family?
Right.
And like, that's something that when you're from a small town or you just are going to college, like you don't get that. Like maybe 2% or 5% of the people you interact with on a daily basis are like of that same mindset. But when you join Better Earth, it's like, it's everyone. It's literally every single person that you're talking to. It's like, hey, what's your goal? It's like, I want to make X amount of money. It's like, why do you want to make that money? Oh, I want to take care of my grandma. I want to buy my mama a purse. I want to take my family on vacation. I want to help this nonprofit I'm really passionate about. It's like every single person you talk to has like a big goal and knows what they want to do after they achieve that goal, which is not something you get in just like everyday life. Most people just kind of skate.
Yeah, that's one thing that going off that question too. And when it came to every single person on my team, like I do one-on-one calls a lot, just like asking what your why is. Where do you want to put your money? Where do you want this to go? Who do you want to impact? So when it comes all like down to the money we're making, you get to put it where you want it. And that's like the coolest part about it. Like I have different whys than a lot of other people. For me, like I put a lot of money into my Smile Big clothing company, right? So now I actually have capital to bring a bunch of my ideas to life. I put money, like I want to get into real estate. I am into crypto, a lot of it. I'm into NFTs as well from you guys. But it is crazy. Like everyone always does have like different things that they want to do with their money. And wherever you want to put it, you just make the money. It's not that hard. Like it literally isn't that hard. You have a head start on every single person when you come to Better Earth. It's kind of stupid if you think about it.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying too, it's like it's a nice thing about sales, like you and controlling your income. Like I actually think that like looking at a trip to Hawaii with your family is 2 deals.
Yeah.
It's like being able to look at money that way, most people can't look at money that way. That's like 3 months of salary, and there's actually no way for them to make 3 months of salary in 1 month. There is no way. It's like, this is what you're making. You have to like, you're literally like saving. So you got to go down a lifestyle. Oh, I'm like not going to buy coffee. I'm not going to like go out for 4 weekends so I can like save up. That's like 99% of people's like existence. When you're in sales, especially solar sales, it's like, hey, I want to do this thing in 3 months. I'm like, okay, like what do I need to do? I need to save up 2 deals. Yeah. 2 of my 20 deals that I should close in the next 3 months, or 30 deals. Like, and there's my funds to do whatever fun thing I want to do. That's incredibly empowering.
100%.
It lets you think about 10 grand in a totally different way than most people think about it.
And then for me, the reason why like I don't like save 2 deals or like save like that, oh, I had 2 more deals, like I'm just going to save it. Like that makes me work harder.
Correct.
That makes me hit doors longer than anyone else. That makes me go out there for an extra hour every single week. And that pays for my like fun activities. If I want to go to the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I have the money to be able to do it. I'm gonna go work harder. Everything I did in the like past is the past. Screw it, right? But with it, I'm just gonna go work a ridiculous amount of like time, budget my time, like make sure everything is 100% organized, have my calendars 100% organized, and I'm gonna go hit doors for an extra 5 hours when everyone's sleeping or eating. I'm gonna go work 5 hours, and that's gonna pay for my Super Bowl.
Right.
No other industry can do that.
Yeah.
Literally no other. No.
Yeah, and I think it touches on it's that call that Zane ran a little while ago that I love. It's the set goals and then reward yourself for it. A lot of people will like set goals, they'll achieve the goal, and then they won't reward themselves, or they'll not hit a goal and they'll reward themselves. I think it's actually a really powerful thing to be like, I want to go to the Super Bowl. This is my goal. If I hit this goal, I'm going to the Super Bowl. It's not, you make it not a choice. Or like, I'm buying this car. You make it not a choice because it's like, I hit the goal, I set out, and I did what I said. Now I'm going to reward myself. And I think it's a really great habit to actually get into.
Accountability.
It makes yourself accountable, and then you're no longer rewarding yourself if you don't hit that goal. And you're never on this just like constant like upward battle for not rewarding yourself. And I think that's something that a lot of kids struggle, is to like reward themselves after they're like being successful. Like, what do I do with all this? And it's like, well, make a plan for all of this stuff, and you can kind of do whatever you want.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think the shared accountability that, I think Marshall's done a really good job on his team, and you've done a really good job at Smile Big, is everyone knows what your why is. You want to help 1 billion people.
That's the
truth.
You
want to build Smile Big. And you put that out there, and they see you work at solar, but they see you work in other ways too. And also mentoring other people to figure out what their whys are and what their goals are, and hold them accountable to those goals. And when you guys were talking about joining Better Earth, you basically get to join 200 like-minded people that are going to be badasses, over the next 50 years.
Right.
You don't just get that anywhere else. You walk in day one, you put some energy in, you work, you ask the right questions, and you get after it. Like, you're going to get the respect from everybody, and you're going to have other people asking you, like, what you want to do. Like, what's your energy? Like, what's your why? And you're going to get support and mentorship. And I know you've done a really good job with your team. You do those one-on-ones every night. Like, I hear the stories. You're up till 1 and 2 talking to people just about their lives and what they want to do. And I think that's just amazing. Talk about like a couple of your favorite stories. I know you got amazing people on your team everywhere, but I'd love to hear a little bit about Dooley and Dooley. About kind of your special relationship with him.
Yeah, so Dooley came out from India, and that was crazy. So I kept calling him. Like, I called him here and there. He used to reach out all the time, right? And he used to have a separate, like, ringtone for me.
And he just DM'd you on Instagram one day, right?
Instagram.
Just like follow up,
Ridiculous amount.
Until you answered, yeah.
WhatsApp, Instagram, whatever it was. And eventually I was like, all right, I have like 15 minutes. I'm going to call this guy. And I didn't I forgot that the time zones are completely different. It's like 3:30 in the morning his time. And he has like a separate ringtone. And whenever I'd call him, he'd be super pumped. Like usually most people when they wake up, they're like, geez, what do you want? He's just like, Johns, what's up? And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Yeah. So we brought Dooley out here, and he had a couple habits just because, like, in India, he was smoking cigarettes, right? No big deal. But with it, I was like, Dooley, if you come here, he brought, like, some big cartridges of cigarettes, and I hid him from him. I said, you cannot smoke a cigarette, not at all. And he went with it. Like, that's a hard addiction to quit, but he did it. Like, he did whatever it took for this opportunity, and Dooley's, like, literally, like, one of my best friends forever. But, yeah, the other night he was just in there at 1 o'clock. So it's just ridiculous where you can change people's lives. Like, he had a language barrier. He learned English about a year ago, and Dooley made $50,000 in November. Yeah. If he can do it not being able to, like, speak English, anyone can. But the one thing that he has that a lot of other people don't have is the conviction. He didn't care about a language barrier. And I said, just use that to your advantage. Tell people that you just learned English a year ago, and everyone's like, wow. Right. And then they actually get to know the real Dooley. So just, like, being yourself, being transparent, like, that's how he got there. And he's an absolute goofball in the house. Constant positivity at all times. And that is the best part about him. Like, he brings up everyone, even though he could complain about, I can't speak English as well as you. He can make excuses, but his excuses is, like, that's his motivation. And that's, like, the coolest part about being able to change other people's lives and, like, being able to have, like, the platform we do today, to be able to bring people and have him, like, change everyone around him, his whole entire family. Like, he wants to fly his family out here, and he's going to. So setting targets for himself, and that's another thing that we were talking about. The other day we set a target. If he hits this many deals, we're going to fly his whole entire family out here for a couple weeks.
That's cool.
So it's just like that kind of stuff, and it's like the accountability, the discipline to it. But he's someone just very, very similar to me. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to speak that out into, like, the world. Everyone can know that I want to do it. And if I don't do it, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, you let yourself down.
Yeah, and you mentioned, like, having, like, a plan B or, like, a safety net. Like, someone like Dooley didn't, right? Like, he was, like, going to, like, make the American dream happen, which is actually really cool to see that really come to fruition. Like, yeah. Straight from India. And I know his parents, like, to start, like, had, like, a lot of trepidation. Yeah. So, like, there's no way you're going to move out to California and make all this money, right, like, do all this stuff. Like, I just don't think they believed him. Right. And so it was, like, he had to, like, break that, too, of, like, guys, I'm moving across the world to go do probably something that sounded completely batshit crazy to them. And then he gets here, and it's like, yeah, it's the work ethic. He had no plan B. There was no safety net, and he just worked, got through it. And, yeah, Dooley is one of my favorite stories, just one of my favorite people that I've ever interacted with. An absolute
amazing person.
He's awesome.
I remember being on Zoom calls, and then we were at our retreat in October in Huntington Beach. He comes, like, right up to me, introduces himself, gives me a hug, and it's like by the end of the weekend, he's like one of my best friends. Yeah. He texts me all the time. He's like the first person, like, Happy New Year, Ty. Like, dancing all the time. Guy's just, like, in it, and it's like he's doing that with everybody. Like, he has such a commitment to increasing everyone else's experience, because he's seen, like, through your leadership, like, when you do that to others, like, there's nothing that can stop you. Like, it's incredible. Bulletproof, man. Yeah, and with him, it's just like, I know People Ops, he just got a recruit a little while ago.
Yeah,
He's now becoming a leader at Better Earth.
I was just on a call with him, actually.
Yeah, and from our People Ops team, Meg was telling me the other day, she's like, Dooley is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he's going through all portals, all passwords. Like, this recruit knows how to do everything.
Right.
She's like, if we had 100 Dooleys, we'd be in an amazing spot. So I haven't even hit him up yet about that, but that just shows like what you're doing for them. It's starting to waterfall, and that's really special.
Sick. I brought him home for Christmas too.
You did? And you took him to a Packers game.
Took him to a Packers game. He opened his first Christmas presents. He was in love, man. I mean,
cool.
It's cool. Like you get to change lives. You get to, of course, like there's a lot of things I've improved on as more people I brought out, because everyone knows like my goals. It's just like I'm gonna set everyone up for success. Like if someone doesn't succeed in my team, I fail myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's cool. It's really, really cool to be able to change lives while making a lot of money, achieving your why. And when you achieve your why, or you achieve others' whys, yours is going to come naturally. And that's the best part about our platform here.
Yeah.
You just get to be a leader.
Yeah, well, what's starting to happen now, which is really cool, is we're seeing some of these guys like Dylan, like Dooley, like Keegs, like these guys are stepping up, and they're kind of taking the mantle. And that's probably the most difficult thing to do as a leader, which is to build other leaders.
Right.
Can you truly duplicate yourself to where they are doing as good of, or at least almost as good of a job as you, so you can get that next crop? Mm-hmm. And it's really fun to start to see some of these guys that they're starting to have teams, they're starting to have guys that are really successful on those teams, and it's like it's not really you at that point. It's actually Keegs or DK or whoever these guys, and it's like that's powerful, because when those guys can start doing the same thing, that's how you have 200 people and a really successful organization, and something that really just kind of runs itself. And I think by the end of this year, I think you'll truly be there. It'll be really fun to see if any of your guys are also there by the end of this year.
They will be.
Yeah.
They will be for sure.
Yeah, and I think the biggest reason why that's happening is because you're yourself.
Yeah.
You show them that being like the best version of Chance, like I can do this. You can be the best version of Tessner or Decline or whatever, Keegan. Like you can do it too your way. And I think one of the things that we can kind of backtrack that to is like you're a Packers fan, you're a sports fan, like we're Raiders fans. You came with us to a Raiders Charger game in LA. We went to Packers Cards in Phoenix, and you allow yourself to be that person at the doors too. Like you'll go knock out in like a Wisconsin Hawaiian shirt and like a smile hat. And
I'd
it's
wear
just
this
like,
to the door.
Yeah, you'd wear that to the door, and it's like they're getting the full version of you. Sure, you're gonna go like through some sales stuff or whatever, but they get you.
Yeah.
And I think they get everyone on your team too, and that's really special. That's hard to teach.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that when you just started. Like, there was probably a time where you were wearing like maybe you thought like more professional stuff, or like this is my outfit or whatever.
Yeah.
When did you just like loosen up and let it fly?
Being honest, I've even like my first day on the door, I was wearing a backwards hat. So it definitely, I was wearing like better stuff, but I would always wear a backwards hat. That's what I used to always do.
Do you think you wore the backwards hat? Did it make you comfortable? What was the reason you wore it?
Just more like confident.
Just confident. Yeah.
It's just like, why would I like show someone who I'm not?
Yeah.
You're going to accept me or not. Like everything is a niche business. Like you're always going to have people that are like, what are you wearing? Like that's not professional.
Yeah.
That's when someone else like that doesn't have like that mindset would switch their hat forward.
Yeah.
After that. Or like I just told someone on the door, like Go Pack Go, when he was wearing Chiefs, he's like, that's how you're going to try to sell someone? He gets really mad. But then next door, say someone does it again, or wearing another Chiefs shirt, I bet you 95% of the industry would not say Go Pack Go again. So I was just like, I got to be super transparent. Right. Like, I'm just going to be me. Yeah. Accept it or don't. Yeah. Do I have business cards? No. Do I have an iPad? No. I literally just talked. Like, I didn't need anything. Like, I just have to talk, be myself. And once that, like, happened, it just clicked.
Well, you're also going to find the customers that, like, you actually want to work with as well, because that's as much of it as well. Like you talk about like an Easter egg hunt, like yes, we're trying to take everybody solar, but like you want to find the clientele that you like vibe with. You don't want to be because you might see another dude in a Chiefs jersey and say Go Pack Go, and he loves it. He's like, that's 95% like the favorite thing you could have said right there, because it like starts the conversation. You're kind of like ribbing each other. It's like like it's instant friendship. Right. Like the other guy, it's like, oh, that guy. Chiefs fans are kind of like that anyways, though. So
100%.
It is what it is.
I was so happy they lost. I was like, I just hope they lose. Go Joe Burrow, baby.
What a great day.
Yeah.
What a great day that was.
It was a good day. Yeah, shout out Joe.
Yeah.
And
Shout out
Bengals.
Jake Taylor.
I'm a huge Joe Burrow guy.
Sad day for Jake Taylor.
Very
Happy
sad.
day for everyone else.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, that comfortability on the doors, in the sale, into leadership, now you've hit this level where you've got, over 50 people, you've got multiple teams in multiple states.
Yep.
What's uncomfortable for you now? Like, what are you working on? What are your like little maybe pain points or things that you're struggling with and working through right now?
It would have definitely been like balance and self-gen, because like, again, my guy's volume is so important to me. There's a reason I brought him out. So it definitely been like organization, keeping my pipeline, my projects like going okay. But again, like that wasn't really like my focus. I would say one thing is just like Airbnbs. That's definitely a little harder.
Yeah.
Just balancing like workspace and living space. But there's a lot of like growing pains to any business, and I think everyone understands that. So I would say finding like enough time to be able to hit doors with other people, really sit down with every single person, because as you keep getting bigger, they're gonna always want to keep like talking, and it's just like balancing. Time management, I've always been pretty good at that. But yeah, I would say organization, and with my phone, text, calls, whatever, and like actually like having like a block day where like I have like my morning dedicated to a certain part where I can attack that instead of just attacking like random things.
Yeah,
I would say like that's something that I need to start working on a lot more. But what would you say?
I would say, the same thing. I think, being in this industry, especially, Trace and I work so closely with each other, we're always having to still like work on things constantly while build.
Yeah.
So it's really dispersing like your time management to when you're actually able to focus and build for yourself. And then when you're able to like problem solve, work with others, run effective meetings, and be the leader others need you to be kind of in a group. And then when you're by yourself, like get after it the right day.
Right.
And I struggle with this every day, and I've put blocks in my calendar, and I'm doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
But it's also, I know everyone else in the industry has the same problems and the same issues. And I know that like our team, like with us, us three and Zane and Sean and Mikey and Misha and Pat, it's like, man, I know the team that I'm going like into battle with every day in this industry that's so complicated and crazy. It's like, man, it gives me almost like peace of mind that there's so much going on.
Right.
I'm like, there's no one else that could probably do this.
Right.
And I know the other people, even if I don't see them or talk to them for a few days or even like a week or whatever, it's like, I know they're working, and it gives me like the spirit and the energy to take care of what I'm doing.
Right.
And I think we've seen it, like we now have almost 200 employees, and it's like, when did that happen? It's like our people ops department now has, 6-8 people. Our onboarding recruiting team, now we have a recruiting department. It's like these things just happen when you work. And now, the recruiting, I know you're a big part of like the recruiting side. We're placing recruits. You're now doing all sorts of lead stuff too. Like it just happens when you work and you keep working and you have like that positive energy that like through the rough days, you just work through them, because the good days, you've had enough of them and we've had enough of them. It's like, it's gonna turn, and it's gonna keep getting easier, and we know this is the best place to sell, and we're getting really good at the install side, and there's just like, there's no limit. It's just it's fun. Like I like the struggle, and I think it's the golfer in me. It's like I like when it's cold and windy. I like to practice by myself. I like the grind, and I don't know if that's a great thing, because maybe.
No, I do too.
But I think that's a quality that's hard to teach sometimes. Those people that love the grind, like those are the people you want to work with.
For sure.
And we got a lot of them.
Well, it's like the detail orientation. It's like a post-round Tiger interview. He shoots like 67. They're like, yeah, how'd you play? And he's like, well, I left a lot out there today.
Yeah.
He's like, I should have shot 58.
Yeah. Well, no one good will ever tell you they played well.
Or scored as well as they thought they should have scored.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen you shoot like 72, and I'm like, this should have been a 61 if you could just make an 8-footer. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But that's how we I think approach everything. Like I think I mentioned this on a podcast before, but it's like I like hate being told like, oh, like the marketing's dope or like good work. Like I like it to a certain extent, but I know I'm like I know we're like 5% of where we want to be, and it almost lights the fire more because I'm just like, you really have not seen anything, and it's like I'm upset that I'm not 6 months ahead because I'm like, I know where we're going. I think that's everybody. I think that's Misha, that's Sean, it's certainly Zane. It's like, yes, we're doing well, but also we're thinking about all the things that we can improve in every single area, and it's like we have to, it's like a moral obligation to improve every single one of those facets. And I think that's what keeps us going. I think that's why everybody's so fun to work with, because everybody's wired with that, like, sure, timelines are down 60% from where they were 4 months ago. Why aren't they down 78%? Oh, here's X, Y, Z, Y. And it's like, okay, let's go attack those now. And we keep doing that. We keep going back to the well.
Yeah. I would say like every top producer, or like people that are really successful, are the ones that think the same exact way. I was always the same way when it came to like production. Wow, you had 16 deals. Like, I never really even patted myself on the back because like I knew I could have done way more. I left deals on the table. So I went from like 16 to 20 to 30 to 40, and it's like, is that your max? I was like, no, like I'm not going to settle. Are you kidding me? Like, what's the point of settling? If I could buy anything in this world, it'd be more time. That would be the only thing I would buy, because then it would let me do more and more and more. So that's the one biggest struggle, is just like having enough time in the day to be able to do what you want. Yeah. It's a good problem to have. Like, all problems are good problems. I don't like look at problems like in a negative way. I find a way to be able to attack them. So like just balancing your time is super important, being super efficient with your time. Like I sacrifice sometimes not eating for some of these guys. And that's what like really like builds a strong environment and builds what we have right now, especially on the sales end. But like, I want to be able to find a way to be able to do everything. Yeah. And that, I think that's the greatest part about what we have here. You find people like that. If I walked around in like where I was from, you don't find people like that. You're literally coming to a spot where you know where you're going to get. Like, we already took like the leap and the failures for a lot of other people. Now you have a platform where you just sell. Right. You just sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you know, we're trying to make it more efficient and easier for someone like you to lead from the front and still like put up deals, because it's so important for your team to like see like, yo, this guy's doing all this stuff and he still put up double digits. Like with what we're doing with leads and the zoom ins, like Metaverse HQ, like you're going to sell a deal in the Metaverse this year, guaranteed. And that's going to be insane. Like, but you're going to do it maybe as a Rumble Kong or a Dead Fella, whatever avatar you're going to sell it as. You're going to sell someone's solar in the Metaverse this year by, I don't know, probably July. That's going to happen. We're going to be first to do it. And it's about being efficient, you know, creating like the next like realm of possibilities is how we're actually able to grow. And what
are you talking about?
That's what we're doing, dude. Like Better Earth Metaverse HQ, we're going to be selling solar in the sandbox, in Decentraland, in NFT worlds. You're going to be able to walk in as your avatar, buy solar in real life in the Metaverse. That's going to happen this year. Absolutely.
The one thing I'd say about that, though, is just like we do things that other people don't do.
There you go.
Yeah. No, and maybe we don't do it, but thinking that way is going to get us open doors that maybe we're not thinking about yet.
Right.
But we're by just thinking wide. Yeah. Thinking real wide.
I like it.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to make sure we don't miss on this podcast is you won the Summer Olympics competition last summer. Yeah. You're driving a Lambo around California. You're letting your team drive it, like they're taking pictures in there. Take us a little bit through that Summer Olympics experience, because we set a monster goal for you, individual volume to hit, not team volume, just individual volume. You put up an ungodly amount of deals. I think in August, was it over 50?
It was 68.
68.
Yeah, 68. Take us through when we set that goal, when we set kind of what we're going to earn from that goal, how you kind of looked at that whole summer, because it was a 4-month competition, actually.
Yeah. I looked at it. It was hard to look at. It was a big number. And the way I always like break down like any of my like goals or monthly goals, I go day by day instead of like looking at that huge like monthly target. Because say you're 5 days in and you have one deal, it's like that's really freaking deceiving.
Yeah, you're already behind.
You're already behind, and you start putting pressure on yourself. Yeah, so like I just started breaking stuff down into a QL per day. So like I would say I have to go get out and get 5 leads or whatever every single day. And if I get leads and they actually sit, I'm gonna close. So I like dissect this stuff day by day, but it was definitely harder like balancing with your team. So you had to be really, really good at like time management. There was no time to go golfing. There was no time to do anything besides work. And that's like how I broke it down. And these guys were like really we all had targets, you know, we all had big targets to hit. So it's definitely like who you surround yourself and like the atmosphere you surround yourself. And thankfully, like our team is just like that. We're just a bunch of grinders. But the way I like attacked it was always day by day, having micro goals instead of just looking at that huge target. And there was days where I drove 6 hours, you know, 6 hours to go to my appointments or whatever it is. But it definitely gets hard. Like I sacrificed a lot of things for it. And thankfully, like we have like a company that sets those big targets for you and like actually holds you accountable. But I knew like that's my dream car. I need to have it. I literally need to have it. So if I wasn't going to get it, like I knew there was one thing and I can't look back and be like, I wish I could have done this. So I just put all time in that I possibly could have, sacrificed sleep or whatever it was, and I hit it. It was pretty badass.
Yeah, super badass. And I think 7 other people hit their Summer Olympic goals, which were huge goals for everybody individually. And I think we had over 40 people playing in the Summer Olympics that earned the experience into it for vacations or cars or crypto portfolios or whatever. Now that you've got the Lambo and you know, you got 30 people like on your team in your houses, like up in the Bay, you've got like multiple guest houses and different things. What does that Lambo like signify? And like you letting people take it out? Like, are you using it for your team, gamifying it in any way?
We go out like in it here and there. I think the cool part is like seeing that on the lot. It's like you could do this in this amount of time. So for me, I still have my 3 cars at the house, and there's just levels to it, man. There's levels to it. I came out here, I bought a 2006 Honda Civic. It's $2,000, right? That's on my left side of my driveway. In the middle, it's a Porsche. It's a, whatever you call it, Panamera or whatever. Matte black. That thing was pretty sick. So matte black Porsche in the middle, and then it's a Lambo. Like, there's literally levels to this industry. And the one thing that I, like, every time I see those cars, I work so freaking hard for it. But 2, it's patience. You have to have so much patience. Every time I see all those cars, it's like, wow, that's patience. And actually, a newer recruit came to the house, and he's like, dude, I like the Porsche. I like that. I was like, how do you like that one? Because I drove that sucker for 8 months. That was the Honda Civic. Could I went and bought something else? Yeah. But did I? No, because I knew I wanted to get into crypto. I wanted to get into NFTs. I wanted to sacrifice it's not the best thing driving a jolted Honda Civic. I gave it to Dooley for free. But it's cool. It's definitely cool, and it definitely motivates people every single day to get to their dream.
Yeah. I love that you said patience, because I think that's the one thing, especially with our recruiting, like always like snowballing more and more people. They want it all like at the start. You know, always. It's like, why don't we have this? Why don't we have this? Like, what's going on with this? Like, I'm getting this objection, which is like, yeah, dude, we've all got objection. You know, I need these like materials to give out like at the doors. Like, it's not working. And, you know, to see kind of your story coming in during COVID, you know, you're having to close on Zoom to start, with, like, before people even use Zoom correctly. Yeah. You're going out, like, backwards hat, Hawaiian shirt. You don't go out with an iPad or cards or anything. Yeah. And, you know, no car, Ubering. Like, the patience is what really kind of made you. Yeah. And how are you able to, like, show that patience now? Because, you know, Trace and I always talk about, like, it's so much easier to sell solar with better today than it was even 3 months ago or 6 months ago or a year ago. Eric, who was just on the podcast, deals with this on SX all the time. He's like, I used to have a paper design that took 2 days to get back. And now you can get 100 designs in a day.
Well, talk about patience. It's also just taking, like, ultimate responsibility and ownership. Yeah. Like, correct. That's, I think, one of the coolest things. You did for yourself, but you really did for people like me and Tyler and like everyone. It's just like, you just kind of went out and just took it, right? Yeah. And like, you didn't ask for anything. You didn't need anything. You just like went and did it and showed the results. And like, now you're obviously part of like every major conversation that we have and like all of that. But I think that's a mistake a lot of people make when they come in. It's like, oh, it's not working because of this. It's the magic bullet thing. It's not working because it's like, it's not, dude. Just like, go to work. Yeah. It's all it is.
1,000%. When it came to, like, patience, like, hearing other people's stories when they first started in the industry, right, waiting for a proposal, hard credit check on the door, stuff like that. And then I was grateful for my opportunity, right? And even though, like, our timelines were a lot longer at the time just because of the middle of COVID and probably having, like, scaling issues, too, because we started growing pretty fast, I was 3.5 months for my first deal. So imagine going out every single day and it's like, have you seen a paycheck? No, but they're coming. They're coming and having that mindset. And 3.5 months, 100 days of just knocking straight. No bad habits, no alcohol, nothing, right? Waking up at 6, going to bed after I did the house's dishes. So it's just patience. Now it's, what's our timelines? Average of 30 days if you just submit a clean deal. And it's just like the levels to it. It's the same thing with the cars. Like I always like take myself out of like perspective and just look at what we have and look at where it's going. Everything that we've done is going up. It's never going down. And you know, like we have like the right team to be able to do it. We're the best team in the industry. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care about volume, production. Like we have the best tools. So when it came to the cars, Honda Civic, Porsche, Lamborghini, when it came to the timelines, it's not 100 days, 60 days, 30 days. Eventually it's going to be 20 days. And it's the same thing with your teams too, having patience with them and setting the right expectation. So many people want to start in chapter 16 instead of chapter 1. You have to start in chapter 1 at all times. And if you don't, you're going to fail because you're looking at other people's results. I started at chapter 1. You know, I didn't have all the resources we even have today. Anyone that comes to like our team right now has a better opportunity than I did. And like, that's something we all can admit. Yeah, but with it, it's just like patience and like really setting that like into the guys. Like this is the expectations you're going to have here. If you want to not do it, go to someone else's team. And that's fine. You know, not everyone's going to be built like, or want what I want.
What are some of those expectations for someone that wants, because you get hit up on Instagram all the time. You know, you're recruiting. What does it take right now to have chance interested in someone to come join Smile Big and maybe move into one of the houses that you run?
I would say like a big why. You know, people really just like, I want to be financially free. That's not deep enough. You always hear like they like don't understand how much work you actually have to put in to make $1 million. A ton of it. And there's really no in between. Like you're either going to make $50,000. I mean, then of course you're going to make that jump to $250,000, but there's really no in between to it. Like you have to be all in. I have 100 guys I could bring out right now. And I do not want you wasting my time because my time is valuable. If I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my time away from my guys that actually want to learn and get better. So that is super important to me. So one, it would be having like the right work ethic and the right mindset, come in being a sponge. Whatever you're doing in the past, drop your ego. You know, it doesn't matter what you did in the past. It's a whole reset button. The doors is a whole entire different animal. Absolute animal. So that's what I would say. It's just like holding yourself accountable and making sure that you do what you say.
Yeah. You
can lie to me, don't lie to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to get there, you know, recruiting virtually, Instagram, it's hard. And I think you're doing a really, really good job picking the right people to join your team. And that's a hell of a talent to have because it's difficult to bring people into a team atmosphere because you don't know how it's going to affect it.
Right. And one last thing I would even say, too, is just like a lot of people like to post about themselves. If you actually look at my Instagram, I never even post about myself. The way that I get people to post is by me just going off and having results. So I would say that. It's just like have tunnel vision. Don't worry about what the outside world's thinking because eventually if you keep putting that work in, the outside world will know and you don't have to talk about yourself. Yeah. It's always nice to like talk about your story so people always can understand and relate to it. But if you do the damn work, like you're going to be very successful.
I will say, Chance, I'd like you to talk about yourself a little bit more.
I should a little bit more.
It'd be good. It'd be good for everyone.
Definitely, yeah. But with it, like that's something maybe I'm definitely going to start working on, maybe a little more content. But even when I first started, it's just like, it's nice to have other people. Like if you prove by result, it always comes back around.
It's basically every single day I'll be on Instagram. I'll see someone being like, oh, the young legend, Chance Prawn. Yeah. Like it's every single day it's someone else.
That's cool.
Shouting you out,
the team we got, man.
Which is cool, man. Yeah, no, it's I think we talked about this on the last project too, or podcast as well. But you know, we have a culture here where everybody's really supportive of each other. Everybody wants everybody to win, and I think I was actually talking about you. It's like you want everybody to win. You still want to be the top dog, though.
Yeah.
Right. But it's never about tearing someone down. It's never like, oh, like Tess, like you're not going to like do that many. It's like no, Tess, I want you to do 25. I'm just going to do 30.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, that's what
100%.
When we were in Hollywood, I think towards the end of the Summer Olympic competition, you were down with Preston and Bogey, and we actually went to play golf because we had like an hour at the end of the day.
Twilight golf.
And we went and played, and we got almost stuck on the golf course and eaten by like bobcats and stuff. But we were out there, and I look at Preston, I'm like, yo, dude, like you have 18 deals this month in 22 days. And he's like, yeah, but Chance is 33.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you have 18. Like, you're number 2. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, damn. I was like, this is, like, it's special. And then Bogey, I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, you only got 12, dude. Like, nice month.
Yeah.
You know, and he's crushing it, too.
Yeah, he's a
but
beast.
I think
Love
that mentality of, like, you know, just everyone always, like, becoming better and better and becoming more excellent at their job is, it's an amazing culture to it's harder to keep.
Yeah.
You know, it's way harder to keep because holidays happen, travel happen, people make money now, they can do more things.
Mm-hmm.
How are you, how are you helping kind of mentor your team in that way? Because one of the reasons you work in this industry is so you can do things.
Right.
And it's always this like little bit of a balance to, you know, how to grow and be more effective, but also, you know, have a little bit of fun too.
Yeah, we do have like a little bit of fun, but for me, I'm not like always saying I'm right, but I know it works. I knew it worked for me, and I know what's going to work for them when it comes to just working your ass off. So it's just like calling someone out. If they're going to like go do something or play video games, there's no video games allowed in our house. Like, that's just the truth, you know, like there'd be people when I'd be gone, they would like go do something like under the radar and stuff, but I'd find out like, come on, man, like you set this goal, you set this target for yourself, you set this income goal, and we got to hit it. You know, like I need to make sure you hit it. This is for you. It's not for me. So just holding people absolutely accountable, even if they don't want to hear something, you know, if it's a habit or something, if they don't want to hear it, that's fine. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is because I know what's like best for you. And I know you're going to thank me one day down the road. Yep. And you can do the same exact thing for me. You know, if I'm doing something or you see something, tell me. Don't keep it behind your back. If you have a problem, come tell me. You know, like I hear a lot of the negativity. If there ever is a negativity, we really don't have that much in our house. I'll pretty much listen to it, shut it down. But if you're going to bring any type of negativity in the house or anything when you're a newer recruit and you keep saying stuff, just come to me and tell me it. I'll take all the negativity, keep all the positive stuff around everyone else because that's what's really going to keep people hitting their targets. So that's what I would say. It's just definitely just holding people accountable, and they need to hold themselves accountable as well. But sometimes they need a little extra boost.
Yeah, for sure. So talking about accountability, what are your goals this year for yourself personally and for Smile Big? And when you say it on the podcast, it's got to become it will
definitely become true. So one of my goals is I just hit doors for 2 days in the last 2 days, and I had 6 same days, right? Yeah. And I realized I can still do 1.5 million solo. So I want to do 1.5 million solo in self-production. And then with that, I want to be able to get a team up to about 200. But I want to start building leaders, and that's what I've been doing. I just gave DK someone. I just gave Preston someone. Again, it's not really about me. I want people to be able to have a platform where they can build if they don't have the right network to do it.
Yep.
So it's definitely building a bunch of leaders. I want to have 5 people in my team that make $1 million.
Love that.
And it's not, again, it's not my like income, you know, I want them to have that because they deserve it. They work their ass off every single day. Preston, like this guy works his ass off. He deserves to be rewarded. So definitely building other people. I'm not worried about myself. And again, I'm going to make everything happen. I guarantee that. I want to be the biggest monster in the whole entire solar industry. I want to have the biggest team in the whole entire solar industry, and I guarantee it will happen. And I'm not going to fail. I can promise you that.
No, I know. Yeah. I know it's going to happen. I know.
Let's go.
I know. Cool. Trace, you got anything else before we wrap this thing up?
No, man. Pleasure to have you on the podcast, dude.
Bro, it was a blast.
Thanks for taking the time to get down to Tampa.
Yeah, of course.
Tampa expansion coming soon. You'll have a Smile Big
we'll have a team out
Sunshine State team soon.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people always hitting me up from Tampa, so
yeah.
Get a big
and we're going to be doing a lot more content. So this will be the first of many podcasts this year and a lot more content coming.
Yep.
So it's super important to get your story out and
and
talk to people. We've had a lot of positive feedback on the podcast. If you're watching the podcast, leave a comment. Hit us up. If you're a cart guy or a cart girl and you are thinking about doing something that's not solar, don't be an idiot. DM Chance, hit us up on the website.
Don't be an idiot.
Come sell solar because golf and solar, you know what's on golf courses? Houses. What do houses need?
Solar.
What do golf courses also have? How do they play? They play in groups, right? Get one person, you got 3 people. Referrals. You got a network. You hit the range. You can hit the range. What do you have on the range? Conversations. Where do you go after the range? You go to the bar. More conversations. Golf and solar is the key. And if you're a cart guy, come to Smile Big and work for Better Earth.
All right. All right. Is that the podcast? We wrapping?
I think that's the podcast. We always struggle to end the podcast.
Here, Troy, can I get the camera? All right,
Yeah,
make sure you like, subscribe, smash that like button. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, MySpace, Napster, and in the metaverse. Better Earth Podcast. To the moon, baby. Woo!
Follow us on Twitter at It's Better Earth. apenspoiler.eth. See you next time.
Let's go, baby.
Good work.
Good work, boys.